Happy October! Yeah, that's right, it's October. I know it felt like last week was the 4th of July, but now we're gearing up for Halloween and even Thanksgiving. And even though this year may be just flying by Mach 3, it might not actually be such a bad thing, because I mean, for real, let's just get it over with. But if you haven't noticed, it started to get a little bit colder outside. And if you're one of those like us up here at Fitment Industries, you are physically and more mentally preparing yourself for the cold winter months ahead. And you know what else comes with these cold winter months? Cabin fever, because it gets a little bit dark outside and nobody wants to go outside because it's like 30 below. And what do people do when they have cabin fever? They just sit on Facebook and start posting and sharing like a whole bunch of dumb shit. And you know, with us being car enthusiasts, it's usually some car related dumb shit. And there seems to be this massive debate that hits the internet right around this time, and that is whether or not you should let your car engine warm up before you start driving. And that is exactly what we're gonna be talking about on the first episode of Myth or Fact. Before we go ahead and get into the nitty gritty, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, make sure you do so. Otherwise, how are you gonna make sure you stay up to date with all the controversial topics that we're about to talk about on this new series? Other than that, wheels, tires, and suspension, fitmentindustries.com. You know the drill, let's just get into it. So here is the argument. Those of us who live in colder climates or areas where it just gets cold at certain parts of the year have become accustomed to going out and starting up our cars to let them warm up. A lot of people say that this is good for the car because it gets things moving and ready for operation. It gets the oil going, all that sort of good stuff. It also gets the chance for the inside of the car to get warm because, you know, that's also an important thing. However, there is the argument that this whole thing is actually just a waste of time and is not necessary and is not needed. And in some cases, people argue that it is just straight up not good for the car at all. Like I mentioned, this debate usually seems to always appear on Facebook or some sort of social media almost annually. It's like clockwork, typically in the form of some shared blog post claiming that they have found the answer to whether or not you need to let your engine warm up. However, even though someone's found the answer, there's still gonna be 12 other articles written about it. And it gets the comment section and car groups all sorts of just wound up. And it's not just like random blog posts here and there. In the past, writers such as Popular Mechanics, The Washington Post, Jalopnik, and even Carfax have written and posted articles talking about this exact topic. So you know what? Let's talk about it too, shall we? Where did this all start? Why is this such an argumentative topic? Well, to start off, let's kick it back to the years of carbureted engines in cars. Back in the day when an engine was cold or hasn't been started and is at an ambient temperature to the outside, they typically needed help from a little thing called the choke to get started. The choke was there to essentially choke the amount of air coming into the engine so that there was a richer air-fuel mixture, making it easier for the engine to start. Once the engine was started, the choke could be backed off to the normal air-fuel mixture and you could be on your happy little way. No one really thought about it. It was just common practice because it was needed for the car to run. It was also common practice because there was another thing to consider too. The oil of today is nothing like it was years ago. Back then, vehicles ran a thicker viscosity oil just because that's what oil was. You make sure the car had oil, car go just fine, and that was that. However, when introduced to colder weather or colder climates, this oil with higher viscosity would get thicker with the colder temperature, meaning that it had to reach a certain temperature itself to flow better, to get all around the engine to make sure that it was lubricated nice and good. This became habit and common practice. If you were going to drive your car after sitting overnight, you were more than likely gonna have to go let it warm up for like a minute or so. It's just how it was. However, since the time of carbureted engines, we've had a ton of advancements in automotive and oil technology. With the introduction of things such as electronic fuel injection and synthetic oils, these practices really are not as necessary as they used to be. However, they are just carrying over from that time. Electronic fuel injection is able to automatically adjust for the cold starts, which is why you'll notice, when you start up, modern cars, after sitting for a while, they will idle a little bit higher for a minute or so and then drop down to a normal idle. Modern engines have a much tighter tolerance as well, which tends to call for a lower viscosity oil. And with the advancements in the oil technology and the introduction of things such as synthetic oils, they are less affected by colder temperatures. They don't thicken up as much or gel as much, which in a sense solves the two main issues as to why everyone would have to warm up their older cars. So then, why why do we continue to have this debate? I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, right? Newer modern cars take care of all those worries we should have, and you should be good to go. However, no debate or argument is ever that simple. And I wish it could be, because that would solve a hell of a lot of issues, but that's just not the case. And here's why. The idea that you should let your engine warm up or not is dependent on so many variables. If you're gonna hop in your Camry to run to the nearest Quick Trip for some 49-cent bananas and it's a crisp fall day, no, you don't need to let your car warm up. It's gonna be okay. If you're hopping into your fully built STI and it's really fun to drive and you're gonna haul ass on the freeway, yeah, you should probably let it warm up for a minute or so. If you live in Wisconsin and it's negative 30 degrees outside and there's 10 inches of fresh snow on the ground, yes, you're probably gonna have to let it warm up, not only for the safety of your engine, but for your own safety and sanity, since your heater is gonna take a bit to kick in and actually defrost your windshield. It's truly all subjective, and that is why it's really a never-ending debate. And a lot of times these articles will take other things into consideration, such as how much fuel you are wasting when you're letting your car warm up for 5 minutes, or how much pollution is caused because of it. And typically this is just done to support their case. With today's technology, it is not necessary to warm up your daily driver to get to work or run errands in normal weather conditions. But this is not a true overall statement that applies for every vehicle owner out there. I mean, if you have a rotary, for the love of God, let the thing warm up. The truth is, if you have a high performance vehicle that you're about to go balls to the walls with, let it warm up. It's not gonna hurt anything. So there you have it. Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and I don't even have to say that because you've already probably dropped a comment and have started an argument with the person below you, so you know that's going on. But let us know what myths you'd like us to cover next in the automotive scene. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Wheels, tires, suspension, fitmentindustries.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you later. Peace.